forests to grow if you don't plant your seed. Hi, I'm Sophia Paessens, an 8th grade student here at Bonn International School. Today, I'm going to explore the impact and importance of activism and taking action. Nowadays, there are many problems in the world, ranging from environmental issues to inequalities. There are probably some that you care about more than others, and maybe even some that impact your daily life. The way to solve these many problems in the world is through change. So, what exactly is change? As defined by Oxford Languages, change is the act of modifying or replacing one thing with another thing, particularly with something that is an improvement. Change is great and a very important part of solving problems. Change can be anything from replacing our actions with better ones to altering the objects we use to improve them. For these changes to occur, people have to act. Taking action is critical in starting the process of change, since change happens through action. This action taken to create change and solve problems is also known as activism. Activism is an act that someone does with the hope of creating positive change in order to achieve a certain goal related to a specific issue. Though when you think of activism, you may think of only arguing about political beliefs. That's not all there is to it. Though, yes, there is political activism, there's activism for other things as well. Activism is also for solving other problems. Take climate change as an example. People who attend school strikes and protest of climate change are activists. They're all doing their part in helping the change they want to see in the world. They feel strongly about fighting the problem of climate change, so they act by organizing and attending protests to inform people and make them aware of the problem of climate change, so that they're more likely to change their ways. Just like my fellow speaker, Ko, I act by frequently picking up trash along the Rhine River. I also acted a few years ago by doing a TEDxYouth talk on animal safety. These are just some examples of how I personally have acted and continue to act in my life. If we want to solve problems and have a positive impact on the world, we need to act on those issues, not just wait for them to solve themselves. If there's a specific problem that you care about solving, you need to act on it and help inspire others to change their ways in order to solve the issue. When we are activists, we are planting a seed for change. Many others may follow suit and plant their seeds as well, creating a blossoming forest of change. Some very common and well-known forms of activism include attending protests and rallies. Though these forms of activism are quite effective, there is an easier way of acting nowadays. We have the internet. Through the internet, you can be a part of or even start your own movement. Through taking part in movements, such as through posting on social media, you can bring awareness to the issues you care about the most. Others being informed on these issues may realize they need to solve them and change their ways. Over the past few years, there have been many of these movements taking place virtually, either fully virtually or partly virtually. An example of one of these movements is the Black Lives Matter movement. Many people shared the problem of police brutality and general violence towards people of color by posting on social media. This resulted in a global, widespread movement with the same goal of change. Many people became involved in the movement virtually, sharing instances of racism and bringing them to people's attentions and making them realize the need for change in their actions. Activism does not always have to be attending protests and events, even though that is a big part of what many activists do, and has also taken part in the partly virtual Black Lives Matter movement. Simply letting your ideas be known is a good start in acting. Sharing your ideas with others may result in other people realizing that they have the same opinion and that they should also work on solving the problem. Since there are many different ways of acting and being an activist, why are there still many people who aren't doing it? Well, to be honest, taking the initiative to act can seem quite scary and even be overwhelming for some. Even though acting does seem scary, it is still crucial for change to occur. And even the slightest amounts of action can result in larger amounts of change. If we do not all do our part in planting seeds to solve the many problems around us, all of those problems will never be solved. After all, forests cannot grow without that first seed. I hope you can take with you today that you should plant your own seed by acting, to help yourself and others change in order to solve those issues, especially considering how it can now be done virtually. Thank you very much for listening, and have a great rest of your evening.